Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, right? You grab your phone.
Yeah, the first thing everyone does.
Exactly. And you open your banking app to pay for a coffee.
Right.
The interface it looks exactly the same as it did yesterday. The buttons are in the exact same place.
Standard routine.
But overnight, the entire back-end infrastructure of that app was just ripped out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been replaced with a blockchain-based settlement network.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You're suddenly using a sovereign digital currency, and nobody even bothered to tell you.
Because they didn't need to.
Right. Because from your perspective, it just worked.
You know, that is exactly how massive technological shifts actually happen. They don't announce themselves with a parade.
Yeah.
They just quietly become the new default while everyone else is distracted by all the noise.
And navigating that noise is exactly what we are doing today. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be here.
Over the last little while, we've been pouring through this massive stack of recent financial research, regulatory frameworks, cybersecurity reports.
It's been a lot of heavy reading.
A ton. We've explored the evolution of money, the mechanics of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, stablecoins, and just the absolute labyrinth of global regulations.
Right.
But if you're listening to this right now, you might be sitting there with all this heavy material swirling in your head, asking one very practical question.
Which is, what do I do now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now that I understand all this, what am I actually supposed to do with it?
Right. And it's crucial we set the parameters for this deep dive immediately.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because this is not about hype. It's not about fear. We are looking at a stack of objective research to figure out how to prepare.
Just the facts.
Just the facts. We're not here to pressure anyone into becoming a day trader or suddenly, pivoting their entire career to become a smart contract developer.
Thank goodness for that. Because honestly, the pressure out there is intense.
No, absolutely.
I mean, if you spend 5 minutes on social media, you feel like you're already 10 years behind.
Exactly. And that frantic energy is what we really need to avoid. Our mission today is purely about readiness.
Readiness, right.
It's about crossing the bridge from merely understanding these dense concepts to actually being prepared for how they will alter your everyday life.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because when people hear a phrase like crypto readiness, the immediate instinct, and I'll admit, I felt this too.
We all have.
Yeah, the instinct is that you need to open an exchange account, wire some money, and buy an asset right now before you miss the boat.
Yes. The FOMO is real.
It really is.
Yeah.
There's this undeniable anxiety, like, I have to make a financial move today.
And you see, that's probably the single most dangerous misconception out there.
Really? The most dangerous?
Absolutely. Confusing awareness with speculation is the absolute worst way to prepare for a shifting landscape.
Okay.
True preparation isn't frantic. It's slow, it's calm, and it's highly deliberate.
So, if the first step to ensure we're ready isn't rushing out to buy a digital asset, what is it? I mean, we already know the basics of this space. Where do we go from here?
The first practical step is elevating your vocabulary beyond the basics.
Vocabulary. Okay.
Yes. People assume bad financial decisions in new tech spaces happen because people are reckless.
Right. Like gambling.
Exactly. But more often than not, they make bad decisions because they lack the specific vocabulary to evaluate risk.
Ah, I see.
Since you already know what a stablecoin or a smart contract is, the next step is understanding how they function under stress.
Give me an example of that. What's the difference between knowing the basic definition and actually having the vocabulary to evaluate the risk?
Let's take stablecoins.
Sure.
A basic vocabulary tells you a stablecoin is pegged to the dollar.
Right. One coin equals $1.
Exactly. But an elevated vocabulary prompts you to ask, well, how is it collateralized?
Okay, what's backing it?
Yes. Is it backed one-to-one by actual fiat currency sitting in a regulated bank vault?
Safe and boring.
Safe and boring. Or is it an algorithmic stablecoin propped up by financial engineering and a secondary volatile token?
Wow, okay. Big difference.
Huge difference. If you don't know the difference, you cannot assess the risk.
That makes total sense.
Yeah,
It's almost like traveling to a foreign country.
that's a great way to put it.
Right. You don't need to be perfectly fluent to survive. But if you don't know how to read the complex road signs, you're completely dependent on the motives of strangers.
Exactly.
If you don't know the language of the infrastructure, you're an easy target.
Precisely. And in this context, those strangers are marketing campaigns or fear-mongering
Oh,
headlines.
for sure.
Another crucial distinction is understanding the vast difference between a government taxing a digital asset and a government officially approving it.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Because I see this all the time.
Yes.
People say, well, the government taxes my crypto trades, so it must be a safe, endorsed system.
Which is a massive leap in logic.
Yeah, because tax doesn't mean safe, does it? It just means the tax authority wants their cut of the economic activity.
Exactly. The tax authority doesn't care if you're trading blue-chip stocks or a highly volatile meme token.
They just want the revenue.
They just track capital gains. If you don't possess that nuanced vocabulary, you can't ask good questions.
Right.
And if you can't ask good questions, you end up outsourcing your critical thinking to whoever sounds the most confident on the internet.
And there are a lot of confident people on the internet.
Far too many. Among the most important things to ensure is that you are evaluating the mechanics, not just absorbing the marketing.
Okay, so we elevate our vocabulary, we ensure we understand the mechanics.
Yes.
But wait, how am I supposed to just calmly analyze the mechanics
Yeah.
when every single headline is screaming about a crisis?
It is difficult, I grant you that.
I want to push back on this idea of just, ignoring the noise.
Fair enough.
Because when a massive multi-billion-dollar exchange like FTX collapses or
Yeah.
a major protocol gets hacked,
Yeah.
I can't just ignore that and focus on the plumbing.
No, you shouldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't the collapse of a massive entity a pretty vital signal?
That is a very fair pushback. And you absolutely shouldn't ignore major structural failures.
Okay.
But you have to differentiate between a failure of human fraud and a failure of the underlying protocol. What's fascinating here is that the media narrative and the actual technological progression usually move on two completely different tracks.
How so? Like, what does that look like in practice?
Well, think back to the early internet.
Okay. The dot-com bubble.
Exactly. When companies like Pets.com went spectacularly bankrupt during the dot-com crash, it was massive news.
Everyone thought the internet was a fad.
Yes, it was a failure of a business model. But the TCP/IP protocol, the underlying infrastructure of the internet itself, didn't fail.
It kept running.
It kept running. In fact, engineers just kept quietly building on it.
So if you only watched the headlines, you thought the internet was dead.
Exactly. But if you watched the infrastructure, you knew it was just getting started.
Drama versus infrastructure.
That's the distinction.
So the collapse of an exchange is the drama. It's the human fraud, the bad business model.
Yes.
But the infrastructure is the actual blockchain continuing to process blocks perfectly securely despite all the chaos.
Exactly. Headlines show you temporary human emotion. If you want to ensure you're truly prepared, you need to watch the quiet, boring signals of integration.
What do those quiet signals look like right now? What should I actually be looking for?
Look at B2B cross-border payments.
Okay, business to business.
Yes. Are traditional financial institutions quietly testing blockchain networks to settle transactions in 3 seconds instead of 3 days?
Wow, 3 seconds.
It's happening. Are major payment networks like Visa or MasterCard building bridges to allow stablecoins to settle on their networks?
Right, the plumbing.
Exactly. Are governments actually sitting down and building clear, logical frameworks rather than just issuing outright bans?
So it's about looking at what's happening in the plumbing, not what's painted on the walls.
I like that. Yes.
When a technology stops looking exciting and controversial and starts looking boring and useful,
That is the exact moment when society changes.
that's how you move from reacting to truly understanding.
Precisely.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Okay.
Because we've talked about observing the plumbing and watching the infrastructure.
Yes.
But even if you're just sitting quietly on the sidelines, not trading, not speculating,
Just observing.
right, there is one area where every single listener is immediately vulnerable right now.
And that is personal digital security.
Yes. It's perhaps the most critically overlooked part of this entire discussion.
Absolutely. Because as the infrastructure upgrades, the threat landscape upgrades with it.
It reminds me of this analogy.
Let's hear it.
Imagine you live in a quiet neighborhood,
Right.
and suddenly you start noticing armored bank trucks driving down your street every single day.
Right.
Even if you aren't a bank and you don't have millions stashed in your house, the overall incentive for thieves to be in your area just went through the roof.
That is very true.
But here's the kicker. The thieves in this digital neighborhood aren't blowing the doors off the armored trucks.
No, they're not using force.
Exactly. They're just tricking the drivers into handing over the keys by pretending to be the bank manager.
That's a brilliant way to look at it, because the cryptography underlying these networks is incredibly secure.
Right, the math works.
The math works. The blockchain itself rarely gets hacked. What gets hacked is the human. Excitement and complexity invariably attract deception.
And we aren't just talking about someone guessing your password and posting spam on your social media.
Yeah.
The stakes are entirely different here, right?
Fundamentally different. And it comes down to one single word: immutability.
Immutability, meaning it can't be changed.
Exactly. In the traditional banking system, if someone steals your credit card and buys a television, you call the bank's fraud department.
You dispute the charge.
They reverse the charge and you get your money back. The traditional system has an undo button.
Right. It's forgiving.
Very forgiving. But a blockchain transaction is a one-way street. It is immutable.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yes. Once the asset leaves your wallet, there is no customer service desk to call. There is no fraud department to reverse it.
That's terrifying.
That structural difference is exactly why your digital hygiene has to be absolutely flawless.
So what are the actual things to ensure here?
Well,
For an audience that already knows they shouldn't use password 123, what does elevated digital hygiene look like?
it means understanding how wallet permissions work.
Wallet permissions.
Yes. A lot of people fall victim to phishing not by giving away their password, but by unknowingly signing a malicious smart contract.
Oh, like giving an app access to your photos, but for your money.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
You grant a third-party permission to drain your wallet.
Wow.
Good preparation means knowing how to check your wallet's token approvals and revoking access to contracts you no longer use.
Okay, so proactive cleanup.
Yes. It also means cultivating a baseline level of extreme skepticism.
Trust no one.
Pretty much. If you get an urgent message saying your digital assets are frozen and you must click a link immediately,
Your first instinct shouldn't be panic.
no. It should be intense suspicion.
So improving your digital hygiene, understanding permissions, using hardware wallets if necessary, being hyper-vigilant about phishing,
All of that?
that's the one preparation step that absolutely pays off no matter what happens with crypto.
100%.
Even if the whole industry vanished tomorrow, having an impenetrable digital defense is a massive win.
Stronger digital discipline is never wasted.
So we've locked the front door by securing our digital hygiene.
Good first step.
But staying safe isn't just about playing defense. It's about knowing what neighborhood you're living in.
Right.
And preparation isn't just a generic checklist. It's going to look very different depending on who is actually listening to this right now.
Absolutely. A one-size-fits-all approach to readiness usually just creates more confusion.
Yeah.
You have to contextualize it to your life stage and your profession.
Right. Let's break that down.
Sure.
If you're a student listening to this, your prep is about future literacy.
Yes.
You don't need to obsess over market charts,
No.
but you need to ensure you understand where the architecture of digital ownership is heading because, well, you'll be building your career on top of it.
Precisely. And if you're a working professional,
Then you need to watch how your specific industry, logistics, real estate, healthcare, might start requiring new compliance or digital identity tools.
and for small business owners, the stakes are very immediate.
Oh, massively.
They need to watch shifting payment rails. If a new stablecoin infrastructure drops cross-border transaction fees from 3% to a fraction of a penny, that completely changes their margin.
It's life or death for a small business.
Exactly. They rarely have the luxury of ignoring major shifts in how value is exchanged.
And then there are parents.
Oh, yes.
For parents, preparation means understanding the digital world your kids are navigating.
They are growing up so differently.
They are growing up in a world where digital scarcity, programmable money, and tokenized assets are completely normal concepts.
It's just their reality.
Your job isn't to project unnecessary fear onto them. It's to have enough mechanical understanding to guide them safely.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, there is a phenomenal real-world example of how quickly all of these groups, students, professionals, business owners, parents, can adapt when a financial system actually works.
Let me guess. India.
We have to look at India.
Oh, the digital payment revolution in India. It is absolutely staggering.
It really is.
But how did it actually happen? Because it wasn't just people suddenly deciding to download a new app, was it?
No, not at all. It was a massive, coordinated upgrade of public infrastructure.
Okay.
It is a profound lesson in causality and the speed of adoption. India essentially leaped over the traditional credit card era.
Just skipped it entirely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They started by rolling out Aadhaar, which is a biometric digital identity system for over 1 billion people.
Over 1 billion people. That's hard to even wrap your head
It's
around.
massive. Once people had a verified digital identity, the government helped launch the UPI, the Unified Payments Interface.
Okay, let's unpack UPI because we hear about it a lot.
Yes.
How does it actually work under the hood? Why is it different from, say, me swiping a Visa card?
Well, when you swipe a traditional credit card, the transaction routes through a massive web of private intermediaries.
The merchant's bank, the payment processor?
The credit card network, your bank, everyone takes a tiny cut, and it takes days to actually settle the funds.
Right. It feels instant to me, but the back end is slow.
Exactly. UPI is different. It is a public infrastructure rail that connects banks directly.
So it cuts out the middlemen entirely.
Completely. You scan a QR code at a street vendor, and the money moves instantly from your bank account directly into the vendor's bank account,
Wow.
with essentially zero friction and zero transaction fees for the user.
And because it was so seamless, the adoption was explosive.
Unprecedented.
I mean, you see QR codes literally everywhere in India now, from massive shopping malls to tiny roadside tea stalls.
Yes. India proved that an entire society across all demographics, from tech workers in Bangalore to rural farmers, can change its daily financial habits almost overnight,
If the system works.
if a system is trusted, useful, and socially normalized.
So what does that teach us about the global shift toward blockchain and digital assets?
It teaches us that you should never assume a major technological shift is just someone else's future or isolated to highly technical communities.
Right.
If a new model for value exchange drops friction to zero, society will absorb it with blinding speed.
Okay.
For anyone paying attention, there are specific things to ensure you're watching here.
What's the first one?
First, watch how regulation evolves around sovereign digital currencies.
Right, because a central bank digital currency, or a digital rupee, or a digital dollar, is an entirely different beast than a private decentralized asset like Bitcoin.
Completely different. A sovereign digital currency is programmable money controlled by a central bank.
Okay.
It offers immense efficiency, much like UPI, but it also raises massive questions about privacy and surveillance.
Yeah, that's the trade-off.
You have to ensure you watch where that line is drawn. Second, watch how cross-border payments evolve.
B2B stuff again.
Exactly. And third, keep an eye on how everyday businesses start incorporating these rails.
Because if it becomes useful.
It goes from niche to normal in the blink of an eye. You cannot afford to be caught sleeping.
So what does this all mean for the end game? We've talked about all this infrastructure changing, but I think people often get trapped in a very binary way of thinking.
Yes, the all or nothing mindset.
Right. Like either decentralized crypto completely destroys the traditional banking system and takes over the world, or the entire crypto industry burns to the ground and we go back to doing things the old way.
And both of those extremes are highly unlikely.
Really?
Yes, the future is almost certainly going to be mixed. We are not looking at a pure crypto takeover, nor are we looking at a total disappearance.
So it's an integration, a blending of the two.
Exactly. Traditional finance is going to absorb and integrate the most useful pieces of blockchain infrastructure.
Like the plumbing we talked about.
Yes. Wall Street banks will use private blockchains for back-end settlement because it's mathematically vastly more efficient.
Okay.
Stable digital assets might find very specific roles in global trade. Sovereign digital currencies will likely grow for domestic retail use, while decentralized private assets remain important as a parallel system.
It's a blended transition.
It is a blended transition.
Which honestly takes a lot of the pressure off.
It really does.
It means you don't have to make this massive all-or-nothing judgment today. You don't have to declare your allegiance to one side or the other.
No, you don't.
But if we're navigating this blended transition, what are the traps we need to actively avoid?
First and foremost, avoid emotional decision-making.
Okay.
When you feel urgency, fear, or a sudden fear of missing out because a token is pumping.
That is exactly when your judgment is at its weakest.
Yes. Step away from the keyboard when you're feeling panicked.
That's a great rule for life, honestly.
Exactly. Second, avoid the belief that you must fully embrace or completely reject everything at once. Build your context first.
Take it slow.
Third, avoid outsourcing your thinking.
Right. The confident internet voices.
There are incredibly confident voices online. Influencers, analysts, anonymous accounts with huge followings.
Yeah.
But confidence is not the same thing as wisdom. You need to ensure you learn enough about the mechanics to test their claims, not just blindly absorb them.
And I imagine we also need to uncouple popularity from sustainability.
Spot on. Never assume that just because a project or an asset is highly popular on social media, it is automatically structurally sound.
Because popularity is just attention.
Exactly. Popularity creates attention, but it does not guarantee long-term value or secure code.
So instead of listening to the loudest voices on social media, where should we actually be looking?
Watch the serious actors.
Okay.
To truly prepare, you must watch central banks, major regulators, massive global payment networks, and large technology platforms.
The big guys.
Yes. Ordinary life isn't shaped by what internet enthusiasts yell about in forums. It's shaped by what massive institutions decide to normalize.
So true.
When large tech platforms and global banks start quietly upgrading their plumbing, that is when the structural change is actually locked in.
Okay, so let's pull all of this together.
Let's do it.
If we had to sketch a profile of a prepared person based on everything we've pulled from these reports and research, what do they actually look like?
Well, it's clearly not a day trader glued to 6 monitors tracking minute-by-minute charts.
No.
And it's not a developer writing smart contracts in their basement either.
So who are they?
A prepared person is digitally literate. They have an elevated vocabulary that allows them to assess risk.
They know the difference between taxed and approved.
Yes. They understand the immutability of the network, which means their personal digital security is locked down, and they know how to manage wallet permissions.
They can distinguish real, boring infrastructure use cases from dramatic headline hype.
Exactly. And most importantly, they remain incredibly calm when the public conversation becomes deeply emotional.
They don't panic.
They don't panic. They have built the readiness to just observe, understand the mechanics, and adapt.
They know the difference between an algorithmic token and a fully collateralized stablecoin.
Yes.
And like we said, they know the difference between a government extracting tax revenue and a government actually providing regulatory clarity.
Yes. And it's crucial to remember the why behind all of this.
The big picture.
Even if you, the listener, decide that you will never personally buy or hold a single digital asset,
Which is a totally valid choice.
completely valid, but you will still inevitably live inside the financial systems that other people build.
Wow. Yeah.
You don't personally choose every payment network or identity layer that society adopts, but you are still bound by their rules and their vulnerabilities.
You're still in the ecosystem.
Exactly. Education is the only way to ensure you aren't caught entirely off guard when the architecture of your daily life shifts beneath your feet.
It all comes back to that internet analogy from the start, doesn't it?
It really does.
You didn't need to know how to code the underlying protocols of the internet,
No.
but you absolutely needed to know how to navigate it when it became the only way to apply for a job, or read the news, or communicate with your family.
Precisely. You had to learn the new normal.
And that leaves us with a pretty wild thought to chew on as we wrap up.
Okay.
I want you to think about the digital services, the banking apps, and the payment platforms sitting on your phone right now.
Just sitting there on the home screen.
Yeah. Consider what would happen if those very apps quietly upgraded their back-end infrastructure to a blockchain, or seamlessly integrated a sovereign digital currency while you were asleep.
Given the efficiency gains we've discussed, it's highly probable that's exactly how the majority of the world will experience this shift.
Right. So the ultimate question is, when the crypto future actually arrives at your doorstep, will you even notice a massive technological revolution taking place?
Right.
Or will it just look like a standard, boring software update? Keep that in mind next time you open your phone to buy a coffee.